Today on General Hospital, Alexis gets a surprise involving Christina and Molly. Kevin and Laura discuss Charlotte's problems, and Anna thinks she knows who has targeted her. Carly closes Kelly's and calls Alexis to get an update on Drew and the judge. Alexis hasn't heard anything but will keep pushing. Sam drops by to check on Carly. Carly explains she just spoke to her mom about Drew, but she had no updates. Sam knows her mom will keep the pressure on Judge Kim. Carly asks Sam if she's updated Scout, but she hasn't as she doesn't want to get her hopes up. Carly understands. Talk turns to Mena, and Sam notes that Carly was gracious to her earlier. Carly knows fanning the flames of hatred doesn't help anything, and she's Willow's mother and Wiley's grandmother. Sam adds, and Sonny's wife. Carly knows, and Nina has been on her best behavior. However, she doesn't think Nina's changed at all, but clearly things have changed between Willow and Nina. And if Willow is happy, then she is happy. Sam asks what about Michael, who she doesn't think is as open to Nina as Willow and the kids are. Carly says that given what Nina did to their family, she doesn't see why any of them should trust Nina. Sam is just glad Michael and Sonny are close again, and Carly is too. Carly says whatever happened in Puerto Rico seemed to have changed everything between them. Sam and Carly reflect on how far their friendship has come but realize it's probably time they get home to their kids and the sugar rush they are probably on. Carly thanks Sam for coming to check on her, and Sam encourages her not to give up. Outside Kelly's, Willow has another encounter with Harmony. Harmony claims she came to see Wiley and to warn her. She says she can't trust. Suddenly Willow wakes up, having been sleeping on the couch at home. Michael says she must have had a bad dream. Willow tells Michael she dreamt about Harmony again. She explains the dream to him, and she thinks Harmony is trying to tell her that someone close to her is lying to her, and she'll get hurt. Michael points out that Harmony lied to her for her whole life, but Willow wonders if someone is lying to her. Michael thinks about his argument with Nina, and Willow wonders if maybe she's just nervous because things are going well with Mena. Willow says, since the wedding she and Mena have been talking about Wiley, the wedding, and even the trip to Montreal. Michael asks if she really wanted to go on that trip with Mena. Willow admits she did. She knows it's a bit extravagant of Sonny, but going there with Sonny, Nina, and the kids would give them another positive experience to share. He admits he thought she would have looked for an excuse not to go. Willow says the more time she and Nina spend time together, the more she thinks they can have a real relationship. She asks if that bothers him. He only wants her to be happy, her and the kids too, and promises to never let anyone hurt her. Alexis arrives to see Molly at her place and learns TJ's working late as Halloween is always busy in the ER. Molly decides to go start the food when then there is a knock at the door. Alexis is shocked to see Christina there. Christina says Molly invited her, and she brought pumpkin ice cream for dessert. Molly and Christina embrace, and when they are clearly civil with one another, Alexis demands to be told what she's missing, as it feels like they are playing the Let's Make Mom Crazy game. The girls joke that they love that game, but tell their mom they ironed things out after she told them that she'd love to have her sister back. Alexis is happy for them and proud. They then get to the food. Over dinner, Molly brings up the different baby names she and TJ have been looking at, and Christina has comments on every name they've chosen. Alexis suggests they look through the book of names Molly has and keep their opinions to themselves. Christina points out as her daughters that's impossible. Over dessert, Christina, Molly, and Alexis discuss Drew's case and Judge Kim. Alexis says they just have to hope for a miracle. Back at Kelly's, someone begins watching Carly through the window as she closes up. Suddenly, Drew walks in. She asks if it's him and rushes over to him as they kiss. She doesn't understand this. He says all he knows is he was told he was free to go, and now they are here and together. They kiss some more and profess their love. At Laura's, she and Kevin enjoy some wine. She says Ace is down, and so is Esm, who has been up a lot with him as he's teething. Kevin says Spencer and Trina are out as well, and Charlotte should be trick-or-treating. Laura knows Charlotte had her first session with him and asks if there is anything he can tell her. He says Charlotte didn't open up to him and gave nothing away. The only real moment was when she talked about being protective of her father. He notes Valentin was injured not long ago, and Charlotte is emotionally dependent on her father, who has been the one constant in her life. He explains that protecting her father is like protecting herself for Charlotte. Laura asks how that plays into Charlotte breaking into Anna's hotel room and burning down Anna's home if she did that. Kevin says even if she didn't, she's clearly in crisis. Valentin drops the kids off to trick or treat, but first, he goes over the rules and the schedule. Valentin eventually sends them off, and Jake asks Charlotte why she didn't dress as the hermit from her tarot deck. She claims she couldn't get it ready in time, and they head out. As the kids make their rounds, Charlotte sneaks off. She runs around the bushes, begins to change her outfit, and opens up her backpack. Valentin calls Laura to check in and says Charlotte seems to be having a good time with her friends, and she needed this night out. Laura thanks him for checking in with her. Back at Laura's, Laura notes to Kevin that Victor had access to Charlotte for a year at that boarding school, so who knows what he put in her head. Laura thinks she was a lot like Charlotte as a kid, aside from having a grandfather whispering in her ear to hate and hurt someone like Anna. Meanwhile, as Charlotte changes into a dark hooded, cloaked costume, Jake realizes that they've lost Charlotte. Charlotte sneaks off. They see her run off in a dark cloak and Jake thinks it's her, but Georgie doesn't. Georgie and Danny find Valentin and tell him Charlotte slipped off, and Jake has gone looking for her. Valentin calls Charlotte, but it goes to voicemail. Danny explains Jake thought he saw her, but it was someone dressed up like the hermit. Georgie says Jake told them that was supposed to be her original costume. Valentin asks them to tell him exactly what the costume looked like. At Anna's, she finds something in her files and says, "Of course it was you smarmy bastard." Anna calls Robert and asks where he is. When she learns he's still in the office, she says she's coming over and has something for him to see. Before she leaves, she grabs her gun. Anna arrives at Robert's office with a file that contains a memo about someone named Forsyth and a colossal screw-up he made that should have ended his career as an agent. She took the memo years ago, and Forsyth knows she knows of his mistake. She says he used to be high up in the intelligence community, but now he's in the defense industry. She knows he'd be fired if this came out. Robert warns her to be careful as they both know what lengths he'd go to keep this quiet, and if he knows she has this evidence he could still come for her. Anna says, "Let him, at least I know who I'm up against." Back at Anna's, Charlotte, in the black cloak, lets herself into Anna's place. She begins to snoop around using a flashlight and finds the trunk of documents. She remembers Victor's letter telling her not to trust Anna. Charlotte looks through some of the documents. Anna returns home and pauses at her door, sensing something off. Inside, Charlotte's flashlight goes out, and she tries to get it to work. In the hall, Anna pulls out her gun, opens the door armed, and sees Charlotte in costume with her back to her. She aims her gun and tells the person to freeze. Charlotte turns around with the flashlight in hand, which looks like a gun, and Anna fires. Charlotte goes down.